I'm Allie Zendrian, founder of AtoZ Communications, and this is the Brand Stories podcast. This is where we discuss everything from public relations, communications, marketing. Today, we have Jake Isham, who went to school for filmmaking and is now a social media guru. We'll learn from him about how the social media game has changed and what brands should be focusing on to have a successful social media campaign. So actually, you've found and have listened to the podcast, which is always nice to feel like you're not just speaking into the ether, at least somebody other than like my mother is listening. So thank you for being on today.
Of course. Totally. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Just to start off the podcast, and I realize sometimes it can be a loaded question, but what's your favorite brand and why?
Definitely a loaded question. So it's interesting because obviously work in branding and marketing. And so I have to look at it. This is probably going to be a lot longer of an answer than you wanted or your audience wants. But you gave me your example, which is Disney. And I think it's a fantastic brand. I just recently listened to a biography on him written by his daughter. And it was just unbelievable what that man went through and what that man built. Such a brand and such a vision of what he stood for, which is so amazing. And to the point where you forget Disney was literally just a man's last name. Like that was literally just his last name, like Jones, or that's how iconic it has become. I mean, Apple as a brand is unbelievable. Regardless of politics, I think the personal brand of Elon Musk is unbelievable what he's done from a marketing perspective for Tesla, where he's able to have grown the marketing of Tesla purely off the personal brand of it. And I'm not political, so I always phrase it in the form of just look at it as a marketer. Right. So those are the few brands. Nike, I think, is what they've done. Is I use them as an example all the time when I talk about branding, because they've beautifully aligned themselves with top athletes, from Jordan to Tiger Woods to Kobe. Taylor Swift as a brand is a iconic thing to look at and study as a marketer. So there's so many iconic brands to study and see from a personal brand standpoint, from a public brand standpoint. What did they do to really intelligently grow?
Mm-hmm. And you're right. There's so many great lessons to pick up from any one of those, let alone all of them all together. So I appreciate that. Speaking of your work in marketing and branding, so by way of introduction, how did you get into this space and what are you doing?
So I jokingly say I'm an accidental marketer, because I never planned on being a marketer. I'm an artist. Like I grew up acting. I grew up doing music. Very fortunate I have parents who are artists who they're the opposite of, you could say, most kids who had artistic dreams, which was get a real job. My parents were like, that's what we do. Keep going. And their advice always was, I don't know, just figure it out. So I was very fortunate to have very supportive parents in terms of being an artist. And I went to film school, and the goal was, and still always is to make movies and television shows. But after film school, I was kind of left there being like, okay, what do I do now in the real world? And a mentor of mine was basically just like, get paid to practice and keep a camera in your hand. Just do anything that's along the line of you keeping a camera in your hand and practicing your craft and getting paid for it. And at the time I was growing my social media really quickly. I then became kind of a social media guy. I fought the label for a long time, but people were paying me to do great content in social media. So I was like, okay. So I learned that. And over the last decade, I've done over 1 billion views online. I've worked with some very, very big brands. And so I'm here now, but I've fallen in love with it. And so I think the unique angle that I kind of bring when I work with brands is not one of an advertiser, not one of an MBA who, this is what we need to do from this advertising textbook or this marketing playbook. I'm a filmmaker who works with entrepreneurs and brands to help get their message out there. And I'm very much brand and message first. Like, who's the audience? It's the same way you would make a movie. Who's your audience? What's the impact you want to impress upon them? Because at the end of the day, people buy from people they know and people they trust. And the same reason why the world fell in love with Star Wars is because it's a story. And so you fall in love with those characters. And I work with a lot of entrepreneurs in their personal brand. And so it's like, great, we're going to make you a character in big air quotes. But there's an aspect of, we're going to make you a hero that people want to root for. and people want to be on your team and people want to be on your journey. And that's what we're doing, or that's what I always try and strive for.
Which is great. And you're right. Good that you explained that, because absolutely people can get behind, superheroes and people that they admire. So how do you go about doing that work with a client? How do you discover what those hero elements are and then amplify them?
It's going to sound very obvious and silly when I say it out loud, but it kind of is, though. And it's really, who are you? And who do you help? As a business owner, we help people. That's why people buy from us, is because we're solving a problem for them. It really is as simple as just give your data away. Give your information. All of the years of experience, and the reason why you're a professional in it is because why people are going to hire you. And again, it's people do business with people they know and trust. I'm not saying anything new or original. I am by no means, whoa, Jake is a genius. But it's one of the unique abilities that I have is be able to put that obvious information in a palatable way and just in a palatable viewpoint for somebody.
Yes.
And so when working with lawyers or anybody in the professional services, is you're the professional and it's the obvious stuff to you. Like when I talk to people about marketing, it's hey, it's all of these questions right here. Just post more, talk to your audience. It's the obvious things rather than, okay, great. Hey, so we need to make sure this nuance and this thing for the algorithm. It's people don't care about that. People want to know, okay, what are the simple things? Focus on those first 3 seconds. That first sentence that you say in your video is about 80% of your work. So if you're going to take 80% of your time, just focus on that first 1 to 2 sentences, or get 10 variations of that and then figure out what the best one is. You could say from a more tactical standpoint, but even from, you could say previous is just come up with 100 ideas of what are the obvious things. What are the conversations you constantly have? If you were on a podcast and somebody was going to ask you, and you were going to go to 100 podcasts, what are the questions that you constantly get asked? Well, that's the data you need to give away. That's the questions that you need to just on your own, and just make content about, because those are the questions people want to know. And the more you just get out there, and it is literally just a numbers game to start with in social media, because I'll end it with this. I'm very a strong proponent is not all views are created equal, especially when it comes to businesses, because you can I can pay for 1 million views in India and Thailand. It's not going to help grow our business. But if we got 100 views of 100 of the correct people who are in pain that we could service right now, you couldn't probably handle 100 customers and 100 clients coming to you. So if, let's say, 10% of that percent, if you got 3 new customers today that were the right clients listening to you, out of 1,000 views could help change your business. So that's kind of the mentality that I go with. Not all views are created equal, but you want to talk to is the right people. We're not creating entertainment here. Right. We can create entertainment, but know that entertainment probably won't convert correctly. And so what we want is conversion. If you want just attention for attention's sake and you want to be a celebrity, then let's make viral videos. But if you want to help grow your pipeline, you want to communicate to people who are in pain and just provide value to them.
So from the standpoint of how you have your heroes presented, so how much do you lean into if a corporate lawyer is a tennis star? Do they bring both of those things together? Is it really just, I'm a lawyer and I so happen to serve people who are getting divorced, so this is the message? How does that work? It
depends on that person's individual choice. So one of the higher level things that I offer is these digital shows, which basically it's an elevated video podcast, an elevated talk show. And so that's you literally teed me up perfectly, not to pitch my own product, but just as an example of a unique way of how I like to separate. To be honest, there's thousands of divorce lawyers. Now you can go, okay, great. Well, I service this area. So now we're down to maybe 100 or maybe 50, but that's still a good amount of competition. Well, again, people do business with people they know and trust. So one of the things I do is okay, what separates you from others? Well, it could be your schooling. It could be your viewpoint. It could be why you chose divorce law versus another law. But then also okay, great. Let's create a show or let's create content around your love for tennis and law. And so you can marry those. Then people go, he or she's the lawyer that does the tennis with law and divorce law. Yeah. Okay. And it's the battle between husband and wife or the couple with around tennis. And so you can make it a little gimmicky in a way, but that is very authentic to you. Right. And it doesn't feel like, oh, why is there tennis in this? And that's where that element of storytelling and that element of just who you are and your personal brand. comes into play.
Nice. It comes into play, but I'm ching. Getting back to how you got started in all of this. So how did you have that social media success? And do you feel like have the algorithms changed so much that you wouldn't be able to sort of repeat that same thing now? You'd have to do it differently? Or?
Oh my God. I mean, it's yes. The short answer is yes, but it's actually made it easier. It's made it so much easier. I'll give you kind of 3 highlights of how it's changed, because yes and no. The short is yes and no. When I first came up, this was like 10 years ago. Now I feel old. And you would do kind of anything and everything to kind of get more views. You had follow, unfollow, and this and that, and just all of these tricks and gimmicks. It was so follower based. You would get content seen based on the amount of followers you had. And really now followers is much more of a vanity metric. You don't need followers. And it's such a weird thing to break, because literally just like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, it was such like a key metric that everyone was chasing. How many followers do you have? And TikTok changed everything. The pandemic and TikTok changed everything, because TikTok changed it to interest based, where you can have an account with 0 followers and get 1 million views. Because that's literally one of the things, like during COVID, I was on TikTok and I was messing around and making content. Let's make content. Within 30 days, I had made a video that got 10 million views, and I grew 200,000 followers in 6 weeks. And I had maybe 2,000 followers. Like, it's not like I had a massive following, but I literally grew 200,000 followers in 6 weeks and got millions of views with no following. And it's still to this day. I have a client who we just started working with. Her first video on TikTok got 9,000 views. I think it was her 7th video got 65,000 views. And she's got 300 followers. But you can get massive amounts of views with no following now. But on the same respect, where if you make the views count, right? I have another client who posted a video on LinkedIn, nothing crazy, got 1,500 views. By no means we'd be like, whoa, that's a viral video. Right. That's amazing. Right. 1,500 views. Okay. Excuse me. A CEO from one of the major franchises that he works with commented on his video. No relation, no connection before, no nothing. He now has a connection with the CEO of a multi major franchise because he made a video about that franchise. That's when it's the right views matter, and the power of the right views and the power of making the right content. So that's where it's social media is so different now. You can make content and it doesn't even need to go viral, which it can now go viral so much easier if you make the right content. But also it's being sent to people who want to see it, whether they like to it or not. You like one cat video, you're getting all the cat videos. You see one brain rot video and you send it to a friend because you're like, oh, look how stupid this is. Then you're getting 1 million of those. I send one video to my wife and my feed is now filled with that videos. And you gotta be careful. Whether you like it or not, but it works to our advantage as marketers. If we just put out the message we want, hey, struggling with divorce, this is the 3 things I recommend. Boom. People who might be struggling with divorce gonna show up.
Yeah, that's great. So any particular kind of client that's best suited for you, or you can work with all types, doesn't really matter?
Yeah, I mean, I work with a lot of people who are wanting to grow their personal brand to help grow their business. A lot of B2B business owners, but I love working with entrepreneurs who are the face of the brand and want to just help people and really want to just go, okay, great, I want to help people, because that's the cool thing with creating really good content is you're serving people, and a great leader serves at the end of the day.
Yes.
And then in return, because you give so much reciprocity back in terms of free value, your business grows naturally, because you just give so much value and reciprocity that people are like, dude, what do you sell? Can I just buy? You don't have to run a single ad. And people are just going to can I give you money? And I've seen it time and time again. Now, you should flank it with ads and stuff like that. There's a larger marketing strategy at play, but the way you get your ad costs down, the way you make your ads convert easier and cheaper is you give tremendous amounts of free value. Just give away all of the secrets. And it's one of the things that sometimes I have to fight the hardest with entrepreneurs is just give away the information. Because if they're going to do it themselves, especially with lawyers, no one's going to do it themselves. If anything, you're just proving time and time again why they should hire you versus somebody else who's not putting out the content.
True.
There's I'll give one example in the law field. There's a gentleman by, I think his name is Law by Mike on social media. And he had a small family practice. He grew his social media so big that he can't actually practice law anymore. And he's just like literally a full-time social media content creator.
Wow.
Because he's doing more business via social media. And he has a bigger business doing that. And he can't actually keep up with any intake in terms of law. I think he still might practice some law, but like he can't keep up with growing the firm and that's the power. It's how wild it is now with social media. And like, you just think about like, okay, how many cases could I actually take? 3, 5 more, 10 more cases right now? And I always compare social media to the gym. If you go to the gym and you eat healthy one day, nothing's going to happen. Or if you do it once a month, okay. But if you start doing it even just like 2 times a week, the same way if you start posting twice a week, great. If you start doing it once a day on one platform, great. If you start doing it once a day on multiple platforms, even better. It's the same mentality, and it's the consistency in the long term. The same way, and that's why the gym is the easiest comparison, is like if you go to the gym and eat healthy for 4 years and don't miss a day, you would have a body of however the ideal scene of what you would want your body to look like, whatever that is. The same way with your social media platform. If you did that, you would have more business than you would ever know what to do with forever.
Yes. May we all get to that point at some point.
Exactly.
So for anybody who's listening to this podcast and saying to themselves, I would love to get to where Jake is talking about, I feel like I'm just so far off from that. What's like a first thing that they could do to help put themselves in the right path?
As scary as it sounds, show up. I mean, again, like the gym, just make a video. There was a great line I heard. I forget. There's like 2 or 3 people who said like a version of it all within like a week on my TikTok, which was everything you want is on the other side of embarrassment. Or, everything that you want to achieve is on the other side of cringe for us millennials and Gen Zs. And it is that. Look, it's going to be bad. When you start, your first videos are going to be bad. The same way your first case could have been a lot better. Well, I screwed that one up the first time you went, in front of a judge. Well, I didn't say that correctly. And it's just that. It comes with reps. You could say a cheat code would be to work with somebody like me. And that's where like, it's different than just a video person, is work with somebody who can actually help coach you, can help teach you what to say on camera. And that's, you could say it's like a personal trainer. If you hire a personal trainer, but for content, it helps you just get there a little faster. And that's what we do, is we coach the people we work with just the same way as a gym trainer. But otherwise just start and go, okay, great. What's a question that everybody asks me every time I sit down with a client? Just start notating those down. What are the questions what is every FAQ? Well, great. Just make that FAQ video, post it on your Instagram, post it on your TikTok. Get a little bit of decent lighting, get good audio. Like, you can just improve these little things as you go, but you can't start tomorrow. You have to start today. And that's the simplicity of changing your brand, building the brand, salvaging your brand, whatever aspect of where you might be, is provide great free value and give away your information, because that's how you build trust.
Yes, 100%. Thank you so much for all of your great advice, and I hope a lot of people take you up on it.
You're very welcome. Yeah.